excellent job just bringing everybody together and getting them on the same page.
Great work.
After cooking the Mystics and dropping buckets, Sophie Cunningham faced off against a trash-talking goon who said, "Not today, Satan." Nalissa Smith was bid farewell by Indiana Fever, who also brought in a puppy. Sophie is already demonstrating that she is that girl. Someone attempted to have sex with her. Sophie said, "Try me again." This is the bodyguard you ordered for Caitlin Clark, Fever fans. This wasn't basketball, so stay put. It was intimate.
They are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player. Sophie Cunningham just got through by a rookie. And here we go.
Shot too strong there from Olsen. Cunningham pulls down and here's that feistiness.
There you go.
She is fierce in the game. And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before. This is a preseason game where Clark is not available.
The Washington Mystics are a squad that is almost inspiring in their remarkable dedication to irrelevance. Similar to a group assignment where everyone arrives late, spills coffee on the report, and then has the audacity to whine about receiving AD. However, they did not simply lose a game this time. "I don't play games, Cunningham," but none other than Sophie destroyed them professionally. She also reminded Nalissa Smith simply to be safe. Yes, the crown is currently worn by a former Fever player who is now a Mystics bench decorator. Warning, it's Sophie, not Nalissa. Sophie has always been the one.
It's just kind of who I am. I want to pour into my team as much as possible, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. I can read a room pretty well, and so when I see we're lacking a little bit, you got to step up. But if we're good, you're just there to encourage and give people confidence.
The Indiana Fever entered this game prepared to make an impression because they are currently riding the wave of Caitlin Clark mania like it's the final jet ski at a summer lake party. Sophie Cunningham, the newest clapback queen in the WNBA, is the ideal person to convey that message. The most recent addition to the Fever wasn't come to play nice. She came to light up the scoreboard, slam on reputations, and ensure that Caitlin Clark wouldn't have to battle an entire defense while being tackled like she was running a touchdown at Lambeau Field.
And that's Kiki Arafin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA.
Please subscribe if you're having fun. The Mystics, on the other hand, appeared to have stumbled onto the court while mistakenly believing it to be a Pilates session. They were as weak, easily ripped apart, and utterly outmatched as a damp paper towel in terms of energy. Standing around and hoping Sophie missed on her own seemed to be their strategy for defense. A poor plan, particularly when someone dares to get physical. Sophie doesn't miss.
Enter Sophie Cunningham. She was the lead scorer of the entire game for both teams.
Let's discuss that moment now. The one where a Mystics player, obviously from the school of Let's Get Petty, thought it would be a good idea to physically attack Sophie in a basketball game versus Sophie Cunningham. That would be akin to attempting to take a steak from a wolf's dish and believing that you would escape with your fingers still attached. Daring, illusory, and remarkably fleeting. Sophie didn't recoil. She didn't fall apart. She didn't search for help. "Girl, do you know who I am?" she asked, standing there calmly and unperturbed. She stared at that Mystics player that destroys self-esteem and removes paint off walls. Every Fever fan who was watching from home simultaneously exclaimed, "That's our girl." Sophie Cunningham is not amenable to your foolishness. She doesn't want to be mistreated. Furthermore, she is adamantly opposed to anyone mistreating Caitlin Clark without repercussions.
Here we go. Need Kiki to whack her again. Guys, it's where we're at. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right there, you can see Sophie telling her after that flagrant, "You don't mother effing do that. You don't mother effing do that."
Mother effing, you don't do that. Fever supporters have been pleading, no, yelling, for a player who won't hesitate to check someone onto the court if they cause trouble for their golden rookie. Sophie is now with them. She has the grit of a linebacker, the jumper of an assassin, and the attitude of a woman who will definitely call your bluff in a Whole Foods parking lot. Nalissa Smith, on the other side, stood there like a rejected soap opera extra. Do you recall Melissa? Prior to the franchise, she was a player for the Fever, walked her out the door, and put someone in her place who doesn't vanish during a critical moment. And it was a glow-up. Melissa suddenly looks like a bewildered mall Santa on the court, making a lot of effort, feeling a little uncomfortable, and acting strangely hostile when someone asks too many questions.
Crazy moment that happened within this really good game. Kiki Arafin getting a flagrant foul, and then also Brittany Sykes getting a flagrant foul, all on the same player.
Melissa's inner monologue was virtually audible. Whoa, she took my place. However, I said, yes, my dear. You used to be, but you're not anymore. If it didn't hurt to witness your substitute drop baskets, protect her teammates, and stifle opponents with a single, terrible gaze, perhaps you should check your pulse again. And the Mystics are more than just a team, my dear. They serve as a warning. They appear to be playing a basketball simulation created by interns each time they take the court. They have the power of a broken hair dryer and the cohesiveness of wet spaghetti. It was like watching toddlers attempt to put out a house fire as they tried to restrain Sophie with boxes of juice. Sophie didn't even need to act like a diva, which was one of the best aspects. She didn't have to scream, flex, or perform a victory dance. No taunt could compare to the impact of her game. With the assurance of a lady who has her adversaries blocked, she drained shots. Her objectives were in line, and her receipts were prepared. She guarded fiercely, moved purposefully, and approached that Mystics matchup as if it were a private therapy session. However, she chose to work out her emotions by lighting up the scoreboard rather than discussing them.
I know we're going to make shots, and offensively we have every threat out there that you possibly need, but defensively is when you really dial it in.
Let's pause. Let's take a minute for Caitlin Clark, as it has been open season on the rookie for the past 2 weeks. It's like she stumbled into a prison yard carrying a Hello Kitty backpack and a book of how to win friends and influence people. As if it were an unwritten rite of passage, every veteran with a grievance and a grudge has been alternately hurling elbows, hard fouls, and side glances. You would assume that Clark entered the league asking that everyone be assigned a parking space and a locker. Rather, she arrived with buckets and buzz, which seemed to be sufficient to ignite a fire beneath half of the league. She has been treated more like a WWE villain in someone else's revenge arc than as a promising young player in every game. The Fever needed someone to say, actually no. Even though she has handled it with amazing poise, avoiding cheap shots, dismissing animosity, and maintaining her laser-like focus. With a Nike contract, you can't treat our talented rookie like a tackling dummy.
And I gotta say, it is so evident when Caitlin Clark is not on the court for the Indiana Fever. She is such a floor general. She is the X factor for the Indiana Fever. She leads the way when they don't have her. I've said this before, but the Indiana Fever look like a train without a...
Sophie Cunningham comes in. She didn't simply take the initiative. With a PhD in Try Me, she strode in like a one-woman wrecking team. Just pure, unadulterated, full-send energy, no frills, no filter, and no hesitancy. In a language that everyone in the arena could understand, Sophie stated, "That's enough." When a Mystics player chose to push the boundaries of Clark's tolerance and the official's vision. Presence and every member of the Fever roster will allow you to treat their teammate like a chew toy. Don't be overly dramatic or pretentious. Fever supporters have been demanding just that. Someone having that traditional edge. Someone who polices the game in addition to playing it. Someone who treats cheap fouls, strong knocks, and shoving bouts as disrespect rather than as a tactic. That player is Sophie Cunningham. She is the tough guardian who would likely lay a screen on a grizzly bear in order to free up her teammate, and she is the hard-nosed enforcer with a knockdown three. Hugs and handshakes are not what she's here for. Respect, retaliation, and rebounds are the reasons she is here. And Caitlin Clark is fortunate to have her at the moment. Her appeared to have unintentionally strayed into her own professional decline. You could almost hear the melancholic trombone playing in the background each time the camera panned to her. Wasn't this meant to be a game of revenge? A chance to disprove the Fever, to demonstrate her continued identity as that girl. Melissa, on the other hand, was able to fit in so well that she may have been mistaken for a piece of arena decor. Nalissa would be at her maximum if invisibility were a talent stat. It was more of a LinkedIn update that no one read than a redemption story. Conversely, fans of Fever were alive. Each time Sophie barked back after making contact or clamped down on defense, they applauded as if she were using her bare hands to light fireworks on the 4th of July. It goes beyond points. It has to do with pride. The goal is to demonstrate to the league that Indiana is no longer a soft club and that any attempt to bully them would be met with a 6-foot-tall reminder.
It's just, we're a new team, right? You have a lot of newcomers, you have a new front office, a new coaching staff, you have a new system, and so it's going to take a little bit of time. This is the first time that we actually got up and down like that. And so I'm not worried about it. I think for us, it's more on the defensive end. I think offensively, I think everyone knows that, we're a powerhouse there.
Do you really believe that pushing Caitlin Clark around won't result in a Sophie Cunningham special being delivered right to your door? I wish you luck on it. Do you really believe that the Mystics will simply roll in, swing hands, and leave? Not at all. This is not the old Indiana Fever. This isn't a squad that gives up under duress or allows their rookie to get body checked into next Tuesday as everyone looks on in shocked silence. This is Sophie's time, and she brought her own fucking gavel. The message was quite clear. If you want a lot of Sophie smoke along with it, don't mess with either Indiana or Caitlin Clark. Because this is no longer just a squad. It's a hit list and a sisterhood with receipts. The Washington Mystics and their abortive attempt at intimidation were at the top of that list.
Spicy Sophie Cunningham, we could call her, because she was out there, she was spicy, she was fiery, and all that. But one of her target on our backs, obviously the Fever, the most hyped team, the most talked about team, and now a team that has some protection within, right? Some support within, some toughness within, which bodes well for once Caitlin Clark is back on the floor, because you're now surrounding her with the talent. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston were there before, but the toughness as well.
Therefore, perhaps, just possibly, think twice the next time someone has the brilliant notion to approach Sophie Cunningham with elbows, ego, and an exaggerated sense of self. With a basketball in one hand and a sly smile in the other, Sophie is doing more than just playing basketball. She not only outplays you, but she gloriously and publicly destroys you. She then returns for the encore just to make sure the lesson is understood, just when you think it can't be any worse. Nalissa Smith, poor thing. She is no longer even visible in the picture. She's wondering how a mismatch became a masterclass while tending to her bruised pride on the bench. She's flexing and jawing one moment. Next, she appears as background scenery in a highlight clip featuring Sophie Cunningham. It's not even a very nice reel. It's the type that appears on sports talk broadcasts with expressions like, "What happened here?" and "Yikes." Congratulations, Washington Mystics. You didn't simply lose the match. You started to feel cautious. In a freeze frame, you are the fuzzy picture. Sophie, on the other hand, slices through your defense like a hot knife through butter. It wasn't a game.
Up strong, things like that, right? You can get physical, defensively. You're stopping your man, you're getting in front of him, not letting them get by you, you're bumping into them, making sure they feel your presence, things like that. That is physicality that I like to see in basketball. Like, I don't necessarily want to see people body slamming each other. Body slamming each other all over the court is unnecessary. Come on, man, we don't need that. I really do enjoy these women just playing.
It was a message. Vibrant, distinct, and loud. Bring more than trash talk and elbow grease if you're coming for Sophie. You should have a strategy, a prayer, and a backup plan in case the original plan doesn't work. Nalissa, you shouldn't feel guilty about reconsidering your course. Everybody has strengths. Perhaps yours aren't playing against Cunningham on the court. Perhaps your future lies in coaching. Your dreams won't be haunted by pottery or quiet mountain retreats that Sophie Cunningham promotes. Sophie, meantime, will be out there doing what she does best, leading with a veteran's fire and fighting like in and wrapped in a jersey. Sophie doesn't want to be applauded. Her goal is to dominate. She rules the game as if it were her own kingdom. Additionally, each ball bounce adds to her ever-expanding legacy.
One more thing from the Fever's preseason win over the Washington Mystics. I've talked about the toughness and tenacity that the team has added. This was a team that got punked at times last year, that got pushed around at times last year. And you saw that in a few ways. I already talked about Sophie Cunningham and what she brought to the table and what she brought from a toughness standpoint. Just
Ignore the noise. Ignore the skeptics. One thing has been made very evident by Sophie. The court serves as more than just a battlefield. Every performance on her stage makes headlines. She doesn't simply appear. She controls the energy, establishes the pace, and seizes the opportunity. Everyone around her is elevated by her, especially the rookie sensation that fans can't stop talking about. She is not merely observing what is ahead. It is being shaped in real time by her. And fasten your seatbelts, Fever faithful. There won't be a Sophie era. It's here already. Your rookies, she has your back. Front, as well as the league's complete focus. She plays a noisy game. Her voice is more audible. And good luck if your team is the next one scheduled. You'll require it. Sophie has bruises to share and doesn't want to slow down, so perhaps just give your chiropractor a call in advance. She doesn't pack that mercy. She is fierce, confident, and successful.